In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, is it you saucy?
Welcome to Unicorn Straight No Chaser. As usual, I have my fellow unicorns with me. Center.
Everyone's favorite drink, tequila, here to bring you all things kinks and chaos.
And to my far left.
Tony Baloney, the queen of talking shit, because you know I'm always going to talk that shit.
And she does. And as usual, I am your queen of extra, your salt and the shenanigans, your diva of debauchery, and the official HBIC, Siren by Night. And before we get into something else to traumatize us, that tequila introduces to us in the Inside the Box segment, we are going to talk about some mental health. And we're going to start today speaking about religious trauma syndrome, okay? Because a lot of these churches and cults are fucking us up, okay? But first up, before I start, I just want to say I am not attempting to demonize anyone's religion. I'm not trying to say that one religion is better than the other. I'm not trying to suggest that people should not practice religion. I just want to talk about some of the pitfalls when people in those positions of power in churches and religion abuse it and the effects that it can have on you. So, religious trauma syndrome occurs when a person struggles with leaving a religion or a set of beliefs that has led to indoctrination, okay? So, examples of this would be spiritual abuse, religious leaders that try to control, manipulate, or degrade you, sexual or physical abuse, emotional abuse, and being told things like, you're going to hell if you do this, that, or the other thing. Signs that you may have experienced some type of religious trauma would be impeded development. So those are people who have issues socially, emotionally, or sexually, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, isolation, poor decision-making, guilt and shame, which is a large part of it, and having issues forming healthy relationships. Very much like complex PTSD. Religious trauma exists in any and all religions. So Christians can point at Islam can point at Jehovah's Witnesses, Scientology, Mormonism, Amish, all of them. Within some of it, there is some type of trauma at the core of it, okay? I happen to think that most religions are sexist, and unfortunately, probably more than half of those people in those positions of power are abusing that privilege. Take, for example, Leah Remini, and I know some people might not recall who she is, but she was like the King of Queens.
Oh, that's true.
I think that she's been standing in for Wendy on her show, or either The Talk. Okay, I know it was one of them. So she was a Scientologist, and she definitely came out of it, and she was trying to expose all of the abuse that was going on within Scientology. And to me, Scientology is nothing more than a cult.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Mimi Foss.
Mimi Foss wasn't involved in it. It was a number of people. And then there's people that got out of it, and there's a lot of people that are still in it. Like Tom Cruise. You know.
Scientology tends to focus mainly on people, celebrities.
Who was his wife? Who she
Katie
left?
Katie Holmes. And she had to form a whole plan to get away from him because they definitely isolate you from your friends and your family who are not Scientologists. And they are very big into celebrities. So, and I think it's just because it's a money thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all control. All these cults stuff is a control issue. It's a control freak that's a leader of it, and they need absolute devotion.
Nothing against Scientology. I don't know nothing about their religion, but that's something that abusers do. Abusers they separate the victims from their friends and family and things that they know, so they can't get away. Nothing against Scientology. It's just something that abusers do.
Did you guys grow up in church?
Somewhat.
My grandma took me to church. I just went to sleep. I've been baptized and all that. Never really paid no mind.
My family was in church, but they also wasn't the type of family to push it on us. My mom and my dad always made it clear that they let us figure it out for ourselves. But I did go to Catholic school, so it still was very much in my life,
Oh yeah, you did go to Catholic school.
In a sense, it was still, I guess, pushed, but in a sense, like, not
you
so
were exposed
much.
to it.
Yeah.
It was a part of your upbringing. Like, it's just, I remember she never was that deep. Like, she forced us to go, but not really in the thing, like, you have to go, but more like, all right, get dressed, time to go to church, So, I don't know. But before my grandma was Christian, she was Muslim. So she had religion. I don't recall that though. I don't remember that part, but that's why she didn't eat pork or something. But I mean, it's always been around. I mean, church has been in the Black community forever. So you have cousins. I grew up with a best friend. She was super religious. She went to church every day. She was in the dance. We used to go to her little performances and stuff to be supportive and all that. So church is always around.
That's interesting that your grandma did the opposite of most Christians, convert to Islam, but she did it the opposite.
I don't think she liked it. She probably did it for like a person or something. I don't know. I didn't really get too deep into it.
My grandma was
my uncle was Muslim.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was about to say my grandmother, though, not the one who still living with my dad's house. She's the one who made me look at Christianity the way I do, because she was always into, she was very religious, but she always said church is full of sinners. She said I could pray there or I could pray at home. It really don't matter. And so that's how I just look at church. You know what I mean? In a sense,
I just don't really understand a lot of people in church are very defensive. Like in any of the religions, like I've asked Christians multiple questions about the Bible, about certain things, and it seems like they get so combative because they don't have the answers. You know what I mean?
That's usually what it is.
Right, they don't have the answer, but y'all upset with me because I'm asking the question. Like that's the whole thing in religion. They're supposed to be blind faith. And that's kind of where I kind of can't really do that. Like I have too many questions. So I'm
like they pick and choose what they
right. Just you can't do this, but you know what I'm saying? You do this, and then the Bible says it. Like, I don't know, it's too much. And then, like, New Testament, Old Testament, that type of stuff kind of baffle me. You know what I'm saying? If the Old Testament say, stone that person, but then you're telling me the New Testament say, don't stone them unless, it's kind of...
I mean, growing up, for me, the whole point in Christianity is to be like Christ, following Christ.
Right.
So, the Old Testament, if you read the New Testament, if you study the New Testament, Jesus contradicts them in everything.
In the old one, right?
Okay?
Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, it's like they redid it. Like, you know what? That sound crazy. Let me make it a little more palatable for y'all.
The funny thing is that there's so many versions of the Bible. So
the King James.
Who's to say?
Who was the nigga? So 10 niggas here, we was talking, and y'all all got different perspectives. That's basically how it's
Keep in mind, we talk about Christianity because that's what we know.
Right.
And once again, we ain't picking on a particular religion. This is what we know.
My dad's side of the family, they're all Muslim. So I grew up, the only thing is, Muslims want you to be Muslim so bad. It's kind of crazy. Like, my dad's Muslim, my sister, my brother, all my sisters Muslim on that side, actually. I I'm cool with it. Like, I don't know, religion is not that serious for me, but I definitely like learn about it. I'm just curious about everything. So when people tell me things or like they're into something serious, I kind of know why. So it was interesting, but it never has made me say I'm a Muslim.
I didn't grow up in a religious family, but I went to church for a really huge part of my life. Like, my mom was forced to go to church.
Okay.
So she didn't want to go to church. But because my family was so dysfunctional, and my next door neighbor, she would always get dressed up and have her like birds and her big kids on and stuff or whatever. And I was like, well, I want to go and see what that is about. And then I started going to church, with other people.
Okay, not with your family.
Not with my family, but I started going to church with other people.
Okay, so that was more of a camaraderie, like y'all kind of, you went with them and kind of built a circle.
I was just like, whatever's going on in this house, better than mine.
Okay.
Like, yeah, so let me go find some Jesus and then things will get better.
So it was like a way to peak and everything.
Yeah.
It was, but it was like, I was in the choir, I had praise dance, y'all wouldn't believe that shit, would y'all? Even as an adult, I got baptized, I took my children to church.
Positive for you.
I never got baptized.
You never got baptized?
I got baptized. I feel like I was in the choir too. I used to go to Sunday school. I remember doing things, but I still was never serious. It was like,
I wanted boards in Sunday school and all types.
So that was more of a positive for you.
It was a positive, but when like things that became negative for me were like, okay, when I got pregnant, I couldn't sing on the choir. You can't minister, and I'm unmarried and I'm pregnant. So I didn't even let them know. I just knew that I couldn't do it anymore. That's not allowed.
You see,
that's sad though. Like, why this is such a good therapeutic thing for me, and this one little thing is like,
like why is that so? You know,
because I'm unmarried.
That still shouldn't be a rule.
It should.
It should. Because like I said, like the New Testament, if you actually study it and follow Jesus, he wasn't that type of person.
Yeah, the New Testament, he's very lenient. He's very lenient. Well, if you're gonna stone her, make sure you got sin. You know what I'm saying? Like was like kill everybody. All the bitches. That's literally how it was. It's kind of awful.
It's literally too. Like, I always think about it when I think about the Bible. In Genesis, is the line, an eye for an eye. I forgot what story that was in. It was supposed to be eye for an eye. In the New Testament, Jesus said, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. Right. Turn the cheek. Those are two opposite quotes in the same book. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's hard to say the Bible was a means for control anyway.
I believe it is 100%.
And another rule that also made me start feeling skeptical was like, so in my church that I went to at the time, I guess technically I'm still a member. I ain't been there, but like when you do your baby dedication, right? You're supposed to be turning the baby over to God. This is separate from the baptism. Okay. You go before the church and you promise to dedicate the baby to the Lord and raise them up in the right way and all that stuff. Okay, the baby's father can't stand with you if y'all not married.
Is it like a christening?
It's not a christening, but it's the dedication is different from it. That's separate.
Like, I'm offering my baby up to you,
right? Like
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's like a fucking code,
right? It's awful, and you're already like separating the family from the baby already. Like, we're already not married, but he can't even stand next to his child. You know what I'm saying?
What if you get married later? Does that matter? Like, I
mean, that they would like that. That's a favorable thing, but
I mean, after you had the baby, like, they don't frown upon that. It's just
no.
Okay.
No, but it's preferred to do. You know how it's supposed to go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So then I started feeling pretty skeptical. A lot of things happened to me in my life that I started just feeling some type of way. Yeah. I can't say it any more eloquent than that. I started feeling some type of way. I'm like, listen, what's going on? Like,
no, seriously.
I'm going to church and my life is not improving. Like,
religion will have you thinking a lot of things. Like, I was extremely religious. I really was. And especially after my mom died, like, I didn't let that affect my faith. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What affected my faith really bad was when my father died. Mm-hmm. And a lot of y'all don't know, my father killed himself, okay? And mind you, I was going to Catholic school. A lot of my family was in church. And I did hear a lot of things like, oh, I don't want to go to church, we going to hell and stuff like that. Little stuff like that.
Yeah.
And coming from families and friends from church, that's not something that makes me want to be like, oh yeah, praise God.
Right.
No, that's like, and I feel like with stuff like that, that's just like a moral issue too. Like it's not just like you're being cruel about the situation, whether you believe it or not. You're talking to a child. You're sitting here saying this to the person that's affected. Like that's awful. That's like an awful thing to do. Which is very traumatic.
Yeah, which speaks to the fact that I'm trying to make. I'm sorry, the point that I'm trying to make is this is how things like that can affect you and cause issues, especially in regards to mental health. Like, okay, she's going through the worst time of her life right now, and she should feel supported by her family. Right. But because of something that quote unquote the Bible said, now she's hearing all these negative things about her father when it should be nothing but compassion in that point in time. But that speaks to a lot of things that we go through in life, right? Religion comes along and it seems to just make it worse. If you're depressed and you're suicidal, pray it away. Pray it away. Yeah, you're not.
Same thing if you're gay and don't know what to do, and pray it away.
And y'all gotta stop it because y'all not beating the gay out of nobody. All y'all doing is making fetishes. Little children don't stop trying to beat the shit out of them because they just gonna turn into preverts when they get older. Let them be happy. Let them grow in their happiness and stop terrorizing your fucking kids. Okay.
So a number of things like grow and fester inside of the church. Okay, you hear pedophilia, sexism, physical abuse. Telling a woman don't leave her husband even though he's beating on her. We spoke to people talking about like suicide. Is not supportive or comforting in regards to that. Any kind of depression, schizophrenia, borderline, all of that. All of these things they say. Look to God, pray it away. You don't need medication. You don't need the psychiatrist. You don't need these things. Don't have sex before marriage. That's a sin. If you get pregnant, you can't abort the baby. That's a sin. So you internalize all these things, and that's where the other effects that I spoke about earlier, the guilt and the shame that you carry with you lifelong due to you're going to hell. Constantly being told you're going to burn in the fiery depths of hell.
And then that's another thing. It's like a constant competition when it comes to religion. Like it's always one person saying, my religion is better than yours, my religion is better than yours, my religion. Oh, it's constant, you know what I mean? And they all act obnoxious, even in the Christian, because as a Christian, there's Christianity, there's branches. It's not just everybody is just one Christian, but there's Pentecostal, there's Baptist, there's agnostic or whatever the fuck it is. Anyway, but like I said, I went to Catholic school and I was raised in the Black Baptist, and I would hear shit like, oh, Catholic people, they do this, that, and the third, and then you hear from Catholics, Baptists do this, that, and the third. Like for instance, here's a good example: sexual abuse. Everybody know that sexual abuse happened in the Catholic Church. The priests and everything, they get caught. But y'all motherfuckers don't never talk about the sexual abuse that go in the Black Baptist churches, okay? And a lot of that shit happens. It's girls that have to get married to abusers because it's frowned upon to be a young woman pregnant and unwed in the church. So y'all force these girls to marry their abusers. And keep in mind that you can't sign any legal documents until you're 18. So now they're stuck with a fucking person until whatever, all because you worried about appearances and shit.
I remember that I was training this woman and she was Catholic, okay? And, I'm training her. I don't know her that well. She was older than me. I was much younger at the time. And she was crying, and I'm just like, what's wrong? And she was like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, but you're married. It's not a big deal. It's okay. And she was like, listen, I already have all these kids. Like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it financially. I said, well, we have options. Like, you can have an abortion. You don't have to have it. And she's like, I'm Catholic. And I was like, I don't mean no offense to your religion, but is the motherfucking Pope going to help you pay these fucking daycare bitches? You know what I'm saying? She coming to babysit? Like, so she is overwhelmed with guilt and shame and fear because some old ass man, I'm sorry, I'm being disrespectful. Because some man told her that it is against her religion for her to have an abortion. Things like that. One of my African American history teacher, right, loves him to death. He was ambidextrous. But he would always tell us the reason why he was ambidextrous is because he went to Catholic school.
You're not allowed to
and you're not allowed to write with your left hand. So they would hit him. They would hit him to make him use his right hand. So he had no choice but to learn how to use his right hand. What the fuck is dramatic about using your left hand?
That's in a lot of religions. Islam too, you're not supposed to. Your left hand is your hand is just Satan. Like you're supposed to.
Yeah, that is in a lot of cultures too.
I don't know why, but for some reason your left hand is bad. You wipe your ass with your left hand. Like don't eat your left hand. It's a whole thing. It's in the book or whatever. Like,
even in the black community, like I don't know if y'all grandmothers or anything ever told y'all not to serve with y'all left hand or something like that. Like I've been told they don't serve that shit.
I mean, I've heard of it, but to me, it's just.
But still,
it's definitely a lot of religion.
Yes, it's a lot of people walking around with religious trauma.
Yeah,
because of it, and they probably don't even realize that it's an actual syndrome.
You know what's funny? Like Catholic schools, they was known, especially the nuns, to beat the kids and everything. Child, you going to Catholic schools now? Because when I went to school, it wasn't. They stopped it, but they still had the paddles and shit hanging up on the fucking walls.
It's still religion.
As they
afraid enough not to do the thing.
Child, I told them at that door, you already know. I said, ain't these the paddles y'all be beating people with? Or you know, the nun got quiet, everybody there, because it was like orientation, everybody there, everybody think I was funny all the fucking time. I be serious all the fucking time. And she was, you know, she ain't answer. I say, anybody said to hit me with it. And everybody gave me, yeah, I'm so serious, child.
They laugh because it's awkward. It's a nervous laugh.
But fear is at the core of all religions. It's the whole point of religion. Like
control.
And instill a fear and control what they want to happen. So
So there are 7 signs that you may be experiencing religious trauma. Okay. So if any system that doesn't make space for disagreement or questions in order to belong and to avoid consequences.
Can't ask for questions.
Don't ask for well, I don't understand. How the hell was Jesus walking on water? Blasphemy. Blasphemy. Okay.
Chakra control.
Okay. Also, beware of using fear as a motivator. Okay. So if it's the whole you're going to go to hell. If you get sex before you
hell is sound better than heaven, you ask me, and I say it all the time.
It's the temperature that bothers me. I
do get high, but like we gonna be
listen
so much fun.
But think about it. I'm just saying, think about a heat wave. Think about when you was really hot. You'd be real mad at the wind.
I would.
Titty sweat. Okay, titty sweat will make me think twice about doing something.
But I also don't want to be cold. So I feel like heaven pretty cold all the time. I feel like the oxygen up there is too good.
Why do you think heaven is cold all the time?
I don't know. It just seems nippy.
Like
it's cold.
Hell sounds interesting. I'm good at it because
it's so fun down there.
I just feel like it's ice cream.
All the fun people down there. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the people that got shit going on.
I want ice cream though.
You want ice cream?
That's what I think about when I think of heaven. I think about like ice cream.
So about cold ice.
Like
I don't know.
Something sweet and light and like fluffy.
First of all, I like the dark. See, that's where I like nighttime. I feel like all the negative things in our life, it will be in hell. It's gonna be sun all the time. That's confident.
What they
turn the fucking lights down. Like,
it will be a lot of screaming.
I was about to say, what they screaming would get on my nerves.
In the basement.
People start calling hell. We gonna call it the basement. In the basement.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the Lord.
You know, like shut up. It ain't even big.
Shut the fuck up.
Like it's been centuries. You should be used to it by now.
We're all damn forever. Let it go.
I'm sorry. If a religion trains you to not trust your body, thoughts, or needs. So, in other words, you like women. I'm a woman and I like women, and that's who I love, and that's what my my body responds to. If your religion is telling you that it is wrong to feel the way that you feel, that is a toxic, harmful religion. All right. If you want that person, go on and get it. Number 4, any church that prevents you from getting help. So if you lay me on your goddamn deathbed and they tell you you cannot go to the hospital, it is time for you to reevaluate who you pay your tithes to. All right. I never understood that.
Wait. So I know, like with mental health and stuff, they don't really want you to go to the doctor, but like physical stuff happens.
There's religions that don't believe in vaccinations. There's religions that
like Jehovah's Witnesses.
Like I got shot. You know what I'm saying? I should just chill and pray on that. You see what I'm saying?
you can't get blood transfusions.
Yes.
It's
Cause like
if you got sickle cell, which is big in black people, you just want to
because they believe that God is a healer, and that if your faith is strong enough, He will heal you. And then that is
that fucking we get shot. That's just I don't have enough faith to heal that.
That's some deep shit. Feel like Wolverine,
that's pretty deep right there.
Yeah. Like, and there was a number of cases. I forget what year it was, where people were getting charged because their kids were dying because they weren't taken to the hospital and they didn't get vaccinated. So I think it was the measles, fucking people up left and right. You know what I mean? So it's a real thing, and it really does happen. Number 5, belonging is conditional on belief, and if not, you lose your friends and your family. So if you decide, you know what, I'm being honest, just ain't for me. You know, now we have to shun you. We have to shun you.
Right.
You lose your
family. The Amish.
Yeah. Not just them. Side colleges do the same thing. And they don't have anything to do with you anymore. And
they make it so that you really don't have anything outside of it. So it's like.
So and also that fear is a motivator, because who wants to lose all that they know, all their.
I mean, this is literally like abuse 101 though. Like abusive relationships, they have control all your finances, all your family, and everything like that. If you don't agree or don't do it,
it's like gaslighting when they fucking
the cult
expert.
That's what cults are.
Because it's only you, and then you have a whole community that is against you, telling you that you are wrong. But you have something within you, critical thinking, that says this shit ain't the fuck right. You know what I mean?
They make you fear. They make you fear all the other shit in the world too. Like, if you leave, this will happen to you, or you'll get hurt or physically like abused out there, or you'll live on the street and no one's gonna help you. Like everything about it is all fear. It's sad. That's a shame. That's really awful.
Number 6, brainwashing and indoctrination to earn love. So you need to buy into everything that is said. You need to do everything that is asked of you. Otherwise, God doesn't love you. And the last and final thing, number 7, is that religion is not supposed to be harmful.
It's not
at all. It's supposed to be about love.
And that's why I really don't understand when it comes to certain Christians and how they hate. Because, like I said, if you really study the New Testament, how Jesus was in there, completely different from his fucking followers. Completely different. And it was probably one time in the New Testament and where Jesus was violent towards somebody. And that was because of capitalism. Okay? He was violent towards capitalism. So that his supporters support. He did not like capitalism.
Well, I mean, all these religions, they get passed down from the Old Testament. Anyway. So at the end of the day, the Old Testament is all about fear, abuse, killing, rape. All those things are in that testament. So you got people teaching you shit from that testament, and then you're like, you know what? We don't like that way they sound. Let's switch it up. Make it more easier to listen to. But it's
that's like him teaching confession.
They want to be
you can't stand before the glory of the God. Somebody has to intercede for you.
Child. Tell the nigga to answer the phone. Because I ain't got time. Shit, I got questions.
I I think that religion, more than anything else, has been very detrimental to people in the African American community getting help for mental health issues and neurological issues, because you don't want to have to say something is wrong with your child, and like that's the way that it's seen. That something is wrong with your child, and that you're not spiritual enough, you're not pious enough, you're not tithing enough, you're not in your word. You know what I mean? It's like all these things that I really honestly have heard. Like even the other day, like I was going through something and someone made the remark to me, and I knew that they meant to be helpful. I really did, but they were just like, God don't give you no more than you can bear, and I really wanted to snake the shit out of her.
Right.
Like if you see this, I don't mean any harm. I really don't. But statements like that, they're hurtful. Mm-hmm. You can have more on you than you're able to bear. That does happen. And when you feel like that, that is when you are supposed to seek some type of help. Mm-hmm. You know, we are not supposed to be strong 24/7, 365 days a year for the rest of our goddamn lives. It doesn't work that way. If you believe in God, and that's what you believe in, that's fine. Then you should also believe that He gave us the mind for science, right? For science and for medications and for therapies and techniques that are meant to relieve you of your symptoms.
And I agree with that. That's why you stop right there. Like if God made everybody in His image or whatever, He made scientists and people smart enough to make these cures and these vaccines and these, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand. Like, oh no, they're the devil. I don't understand. That bothers me too. Like I don't
it's backwards thinking.
It's very much.
While I was doing my research, there was a woman and she was saying that the church that she went to, you know, they were very big on tithing, you know.
Of course they need money.
Give your 10%. And no matter what you're going through financially, you still need to come up out your pockets for that 10%, because if you're not a good tither, right, then, you know, you're not being a good person and you're going to go to hell. And she, as a child, believed this so much that she said, even though I wasn't asked to, I would give 10% of my allowance. Oh, and she said, I made sure every week that I gave 10% of my allowance, because you could not tell me that I wasn't going to go to hell.
Like you're paying your way to heaven is what they're saying.
And you can't pay your way into heaven.
Like, because if that's the case, like I killed the bull, but like here's $50,000. Like I'm in there. Like
y'all need to look at what y'all cases do for the communities surrounding your church. Because it's not enough that he's a good pastor in your church.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. If they're good, then they're good to everybody, not just the congregation.
But it doesn't even matter if it's performative, right? You're just doing it for a tax write-off, or just for somebody to be there with the camera recording. Look what I'm doing.
Don't say something. Do something. Do something. Fake it not, man. There's some cases out there ain't faking shit. They just driving off in they fucking foreign car straight after church. Ask something.
Or Bonnie.
Yeah, I don't care if that's pretend money. Go put it in that homeless person pocket.
And that's the reason why a lot of Black people are turning to other spiritualities, like our original spiritualities, like witchcraft and voodoo, all those things, because this was not Christianity, was not our first religion. And also within those spiritual religions, the original ones, the pagan ones, you know, there is more self-care, listen to yourself, and there is more presence of women in positions of power versus this patriarchal bullshit.
And like witchcraft and paganism and stuff was more about being a good person. You know, your intentions, what you intend on doing, or what you intended this to be. You know what I mean? Like whether it's spells or whatever, it was intention behind it. You know what I mean? It's usually, it should have been positive. No, listen, always negative in these.
I would say it's
always dark
to get a motherfucker off you when you use a little witchcraft. I ain't suggesting that you do it, but I'm just saying, when I want somebody to back up the fuck off me.
Right. And it's offerings, like it's a lot of things, you know, it's offerings to the gods and stuff like that. I don't know, it just seems more,
well, you know, witchcraft is also better, like, when it comes to the magic, it's also different too. It's just like religions, you know, like if anything, I would consider what we do like group work and voodoo rather than witchcraft. Like I look at that as like white people shit, like other shit. I mean, like
I hear you, but
No offense to the no.
Right.
I ain't saying no offense.
Right.
You think how
I'm saying somebody got to stand in the
taking how you fucking want it. Because for so long they demonized voodoo and hoodoo, you know, and it made it seem not like it was like
They made a false narrative.
you know.
Yeah.
I feel like they stole a religion from us, along with other things that they stole from us. You know, so I don't feel bad. We the witches that didn't burn. You should
just go burn, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Like you so proud of your Richburg, you should have been, you know, trying to help us out. We was trying to get our shit together.
But as with many and all things, if you feel like you may be suffering from this syndrome, if you're having trouble breaking away from a church that you feel is toxic or a cult, if you are still there but you just have questions, definitely I would seek out a therapist, a trained therapist, not one within that community, you know what I mean, one outside of that so they can be objective. And there's treatment for it. It's very much like complex PTSD treatment. You can get CBT therapy, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, talk therapy. If you have depression, anxiety, things like that, you can treat the symptoms with antidepressants. There's help out there. You don't have to stay in a religion just because you were born into it. You definitely can break away and you can make your own way and form your own path. So I recommend it because all things ain't good things. And I'm keeping my 10%. I'll work for it. Anyway, let's move on over to some shenanigans. Let's lighten it up. Okay. What are you going to traumatize us with today?
It's not trauma. It's not trauma. In the light of us talking about the religion and the gods, let's talk about penis.
I enjoy talking about penis. It's one of my favorite subjects. Let me sit up there.
Talk about something in relation to the religion and
Because we talk
God.
about religion and
Let's talk about penis.
let's talk about
How is that in relation?
just we're going to be pure.
That's a method to her, man, to sit back and let her work.
So we're going to talk about prostate milking. So if anybody knows what that is,
Like a cow?
something like that.
Okay.
So prostate milking refers to the stimulation of the prostate until it produces a thin, milky fluid called prostate fluid. So if y'all know, the prostate is in the rectum of the male. The prostate produces seminal fluid that basically transports. I won't say transports. It produces the fluid that takes the sperm out of the body. It produces the fluid that pushes it out. Transport. Yeah. So that's what that's the point of the prostate. But you can access it through the rectum of a male. And no, women does not have the prostate because you don't have semen. Just no. So the prostate is a walnut-sized organ inside the male's rectum, just under the bladder. To access the prostate, a person
I've accessed it before. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. To access the prostate, a person can insert a lubricated finger into the rectum, then push slightly on the front wall of the rectum, and you'll feel a slight bulge. That's how you access. So go up in there, right? It depends on how you lay, you know that. You know what I'm saying? Go up in there.
Lay on your back with your legs up. Get them real relaxed. See, y'all gotta watch our old shows. Me and her already talked about this. She didn't know that we was gonna talk about it. And you make them real relaxed, okay? This is my suggestion. Okay, now I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again for those of you who are new. All right, so you start by sucking dick. That's the best thing. I'm blunt. You suck the dick, right? Glue it up. I mean, you might spoon, make it real. The wetter the better. Okay, the wetter the better. I need a t-shirt to say that. Now, what you want to do is lick the taint. All right, so the taint is that random area right under the balls before you get to the anus. Okay, the asshole, if you will. And then when he's relaxing, before he can even really think about it, you might get busted in the head. I don't know. You gotta feel your man out to see you. Because you really don't know which way this might go. You might get busted upside the head. He might buy you a new car. You just never know. All right. So you take it Yeah, before he even knows it, right there. And then most men come instantaneously, okay? And a lot of them will not want you to ever tell anyone that you did this, but I'm telling you, he ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere after that, okay? Because he's never going to be able to tell someone that he wants that done. You have already opened up a new horizon for him. So I'm sorry, you can continue. But that's just how I milk the prostate. You know, you can milk it how you want to milk it. That's how I.
So what she's referring to is a prostate orgasm. them having an orgasm. That's not milking the prostate.
Oh,
she got a little excited.
Every time I think about
same thing, same situation, but if you're trying to milk the prostate, you're not necessarily trying to get an orgasm. I'll get into it. So touching the prostate.
Wait,
can have.
Why would you want to milk it if you don't?
So some people have like inflammation in their prostate and stuff like that, so they milk it to get the fluid through.
Some people have what?
Inflammation in their prostate, like inflamed
Ain't
prostate.
that cancer though?
No, if it's inflamed, it could be a plethora of reasons as to why your prostate is inflamed.
So you saving somebody's life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm a superhero.
Prostate play can be beneficial. Okay, it can be beneficial in many ways. But I mean, when you're trying to touch the prostate, it can have an unusual or pleasurable sensation. Some people are uncomfortable; it doesn't feel pleasurable; it feels weird. So it's not always going to be like, absolutely, I'm going to come right now. It's like, what the fuck is that? You see what I'm saying? Some people, that's why they're not with it. It's just not for them. You know what I mean? Now, a person may have a very intense orgasm or feel an unusual sensation followed by fluid coming from their penis. So it's not always sperm coming out. If it's not an orgasm, it's probably not like sperm coming out or anything. But it's just a fluid, like I said, the similar fluid that brings the sperm out. It's just a fluid. It's not always going to be like they can.
Okay.
So even people that don't like it, they'll still have the similar fluid out. If that makes sense.
Okay.
It said that prostate orgasm feels similar to a regular penile orgasm, only way more intense and felt through the entire body. So the people that are having prostate orgasms,
from the top of their head to the tip of their toes,
it's a very intense, amazing feeling.
And that's why they're not going to go.
And I don't really think you can get that in any other way. That's kind of the different situation. So I get it. Listen, I get it.
You want to have that flashlight? Right in the daylight.
Oh my God. So there are some reports of people having super orgasms, which are a stream of fast, continuous orgasms that cause the body to shudder. So they'll continue to have it for a That's a super orgasm. That's a super orgasm.
That leg will start shaking and shit.
I mean, I would love to see that done. I would love to see it. And that's a shame. Because I feel like you're missing something.
I'm saying, like, can you like give them edibles to get them real high? Now, I'm not suggesting that she take advantage of her.
She is literally raping. Rape the booty hole. Insert something in the booty hole as he breaks out.
That was your husband, the Mary Beth under fire. I was saying no, brother, I wasn't saying the drug thing. I was saying give him some edibles. He'll know he's eating edibles, and then it will relax him. And then,
listen, especially the Black community, niggas don't do it. They got it's a mental block. Not all of them.
Yeah,
some of them got a mental block.
Put their proper out there.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Would you do it?
I draw my line at the gooch. I don't go no further.
The gooch is also known as the tank.
Right.
A lot of y'all don't lick the tank though.
I don't go no further than that. That's as far as my blue jobs go. Mm-hmm. All right, that's a good job.
You teabag.
Huh?
You teabag.
Yeah, I teabag. That's fine. But I'm not about to stick my tongue up nobody's booty hole.
Do you like tongue in your booty hole?
No.
No?
Oh yeah, you just
I said
not
that
with
before.
it.
Oh yeah, you did.
It feels weird to me, you know, it just seemed weird, you know what I mean? I was promised, babe, I ain't want it though.
I was promised.
You know, like you stick your tongue up my booty hole, you blow my booty hole, it's gonna be big. It's gonna
You did mention that.
Yeah, I forgot.
But
That's
I
crazy.
just like, I'm
I'm gonna
every
put
day
right on your tongue.
You like your toes, sir?
I do, child. I look for the toes like a child. Stick my toe right in the nigga mouth. Right in the nigga
Oh
mouth.
my god.
Tequila.
What?
You like the booty hole?
I do. It's fine. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Toes?
Pretty good. I didn't look at my toes up.
Double.
I feel like I'm too ticklish. I'll probably crack the fuck up. I'm
This
too
shit
silly.
wild.
I'm
Like,
too silly.
who made your toes feel sexy like that?
It's so
Wait, but who was at the house that day that was sucking my
There's a
toe?
microphone
I know.
next to you. Why would you put that? It's a fucking microphone. You picked it up.
It don't matter.
You gonna leave it out. You leave it out.
Yeah. Wait, was you there?
I don't remember that.
It was pretty clear. It was real random out the clear blue sky. I'm sitting on the couch, right? You know, we kind of like off the subject, right? But I thought about it. So I'm sitting on the couch, right? At my boyfriend's house at the time. Okay. And his friends was there, you know. I'm trying to think who was there. It was a number of people there. Anyway,
Everybody probably was drunk. We didn't even know what the fuck was going on.
we wasn't drunk. He was drunk.
He always drunk.
The
Let me not say this.
Anyway,
he's in recovery.
nigga that was my boyfriend's friend. The nigga that was my boyfriend's friend. It wasn't my boyfriend. I don't know where he was in. But he takes my shoe off and he starts licking and sucking on all of my goddamn toes. And I gotta admit, it felt pretty goddamn good. I didn't stop
That
it.
shit be feeling
I didn't stop. It was so good. His tongue was masterful. It's like masterful. And you know that meme on the Facebook where she just be sliding out the I was sliding out the goddamn chair. You almost got me.
It's like Asian. You pray.
You know.
Let me tell you
You know.
something. If your toes suck, it be like they put coochie skin on your toes. You know how like it be feeling all sensitive and shit.
Really? I don't know. I
And
never
when the
really.
tongue go around, and I was like, this how y'all feel when y'all get your dick sucked when I be doing this.
I said,
So,
what y'all
I'm
motherfuckers about to toe in your
I'm
mouth?
so silly though. Like I would probably just crack up laughing. I'm so oh my god, it's so bad. I would just crack the fuck up laughing. And I wouldn't even take it serious. Cause I laugh a little bit before my butt too. So the whole thing I laugh a lot.
Wait, why are you
I don't
laughing?
I'm silly.
So yeah,
I don't fucking know. Like it's too much.
you know it's better when you don't know your friend's significant other. I'm a very visual person, so
There on the back there.
yeah.
You never. I mean, like, what you laughing at, bitch? You know what I mean? That's the image in my head. Like, what the fuck is so funny?
It's like she here with her daddy's friend,
And he like this.
his bald head just come up, and she would start giggling and shit. Like
And he just come up like, what the fuck is
exactly.
Ain't shit funny there. I'm doing a good job.
Ain't shit.
Shut up. But they go back here.
No, first of all, I don't know about booty ache from the front.
I had you bent over. This is your ass bent over.
You know booty anyway. Sideways, upside down, like kind of.
So I was like, I don't get my booty ache from the front. Only dumb bitches get their booty ache from the front. Can we get back? Get your booty ache from the front. Can we get back on track? Can we get back on track?
You know,
I was gonna tell y'all the technique, but I feel like
my time. I told y'all the technique.
it's name form.
And then when they come, I mean, all this, obviously they gonna come up and kiss you, and you gonna get E. coli.
So you don't want nobody to eat your butt because they want to give you something from your ass. Cause dish your ass.
Dish my ass.
Dish your ass.
Dish my ass.
What do you think that gay might do?
I mean, a pussy ain't got no choice. That's their pussy.
Say your nose. You know, why you I don't see why not.
I don't know. I know what I be eating too.
probably taste just like curry.
It's gonna be spicy. Everything's spicy coming out. Ooh, my tongue burning. I put cayenne and everything. Cayenne, pepper seeds, hot sauce on every motherfucking thing. Booty hole spicy.
Yo.
Well, I'll tell you the names. I want to hear the names.
Okay, so there are different techniques you can do with your fingers. The come hither motion, which is go in and y'all don't come hither
Like this?
Come here. You put it
Okay.
in here like right.
Like that, 2 fingers.
Because I already graduated to
And bust that nigga wide open.
That's I made him my bitch. What you
I
mean?
ain't sticking my finger up no big nigga egg.
I want to be able to be like this. Nigga here. Y'all told Mr. G.
Yo, I cannot take you. I cannot.
Like, no judgment when you get that done. No judgment. I'm just not sticking my tongue
Oh
my
shit.
finger in your egg. You got a doctor for it.
I got a PhD. Go on.
You better get one of them.
So the next one is the doorbell technique, which basically you rest the head of your finger against the outside of the prostate and gently press like you're like a doorbell. So you just hold it there. Yeah. Then the next one is circling. You pad your finger to run it around the prostate, circling it way around the perimeter of the gland. So
Oh,
just
that's the one I like.
that's what.
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Or you can simulate vibration. Shut the fuck up. I'm saying dirty ass finger.
Scraping.
God. You see, I keep my nails long, so I'm prepared. If you always ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Yo, I can't. So the next one is to just simulate vibration. So you will put your fingers in and go as fast as you can to vibrate. This can be hard on the wrist, so be mindful.
You said it's hard on the wrist?
Yeah. Yes. So it's best to save the speed for in between orgasm. I mean, for when they're post orgasm.
That's the
So if you just so like if you start off a little slow, you see them about to come, kind of go fast. Like,
ain't no prostate toys.
yeah.
Cause I want my nigga out. Like if you really want to do it, I want my nigga out. If it's like a long thing.
They do. They got a lot of prostate.
like a wine type of
That's what
thing.
it look like. They
And they got like those shit. Then I do it now. I put a face. Like,
They got a lot of prostate stimulators, and I'm really
Why? You should have put a picture up.
you know, like I help you out there, but I'm not sticking my finger on my tongue in your ear. And you go watch it, and then I'm like, watch this shit over. Dirty.
But then when you get the wine, you could just come and stand in front of them like, what time it is.
Like, cause I'm all about balance, you know what I mean?
Right. I agree. I agree. I definitely don't want somebody.
Yeah, I ain't gonna
face
leave
go
it
like
hanging.
this. Why do a finger?
Yeah, like I
I'll
don't
do
need to
so.
like if that's what you like, baby, you wanna do it. But
Yeah, I live
I'm just
assholes and elbows. So.
get somebody else to do it. Only way we have is 3 stars. You done looking at that? Call the Uber.
So, if y'all ever want to milk a prostate, these are the tools. Listen, it helps. It helps with inflammation. That's what it originally was used for. So,
Medical purposes.
Yeah.
medical purposes, they just realized they don't make you cane pretty hard. So, if you want to try it out, please talk to your partner. Do not be like Summer by Night.
She was talking about drugging.
Drugging and
I had to drug him unless he was drunk on the pussy. Alright.
Had that conversation.
I violated him, but he was happy about it, okay? You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it,
few
be
people that's
informed.
happy about it.
But prostate milking seems pretty interesting though.
Listen, I'm taking appointments.
Could you imagine? Like it's like just you make your nigga come and he like 6'7" or something. And you just like
That's when you be like, gotcha, bitch. You ain't going nowhere.
like
Oh my
Bambi.
God.
Y'all can remember the scene when Bambi was first born. and
Oh
he
my
was
God.
That's how the nigga looked at orgasm. Like Bambi.
You can pay on a sliding scale. I'm working on being able to take insurance. If you have problems with inflammation, kidney stones, erectile dysfunction, if you have trouble with anxiety, you know, I can help you with all of that. You know, like I said, I don't wear nails. Typically, unless that's what you like. If that's what you like, I'll get some stilettos. You know what I mean? Some little BDSM, all those things. Inbox me. With one of my co-hosts, and they'll get in touch with me. All right. Yeah. I'll make sure I'm available. I'm sorry, did you have anything else that you would like to add? Okay. Nobody's drugging anybody. No good jokes. It's just comedy and jokes. But yes, I'm sorry Valentine's Day is already over with because you could have tried this with someone that you love. But you know, on a good night, you know, like I said, lube it up, lick it up, laugh it up, all that. Don't say I told you to do it. It was tequila.
Okay. I'll take the blame, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. I can't even get my life together right now. You can definitely find us every Sunday with more debauchery and more shenanigans. You can find us on all Head Nurse in Charge platforms. So you definitely want to follow them, their website, especially for more details about HNICon that is coming up Juneteenth weekend. Our very own Tony Baloney will be there. She will be making her comedic stand-up debut, opening for King Kurt Live. And so I need y'all to be there laughing your asses off, okay? Or else, with love. But you can also follow us, Unicorn Train No Chaser. Find us on Facebook, find us on TikTok, find us on Instagram, find us on YouTube, all right? Thank you for joining us for education, a laugh, and a heavy pour. And don't call the cops. We don't really mean it.